Two perfect combinations.
That's wild.
With two cats in my room who want
I wonder
to be
how much rain would affect, but whatever.
Probably a lot. There'll probably be less booms going on while the rain's happening. But anyway, hello everyone, this is JPL, and today I'm joined with...
Christopher!
Yes, and we're a podcast named In Brackets. Anyway, how are you doing today, Christopher?
I'm doing okay, and how are you?
I'm doing fine,
Good.
It's the summer, it's getting hot again.
Mm-hmm.
It's been like almost 2 months since I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to
like
miss...
Feeling.
I'm missing college already.
What? You're not supposed to.
Well, I miss I miss the early days of college, being young, all those people. It's because I ran into someone who graduated years ago at Kroger, and I was like, oh, yeah, they're still alive. Boy.
Oh, guess who I briefly met?
Who did you? Oh, Aaron.
Yeah.
How was it?
Sweet. Yeah, we only talked for like 25 seconds or whatever, but he's a sweet guy. I like him.
Yeah, he's a really sweet guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really fun, easy to get along with.
You know what was crazy? He actually followed me like on Instagram before I met him. And like wild. And it was apparently my sister, one of my sisters, told him that I was working there.
Oh.
So he had known about me, apparently. So, yeah. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, Greg may have said something, I don't know, as well.
Oh, that'd been fun.
He only refers to you as Christopher 164 every time he ever mentions you, which is just when he talks about the podcast.
That's fair.
It is fair, yeah. My parking sticker expired last month.
Oh, now you can't park at Liberty anymore.
I know. And so, like, on the last day I went to campus, I parked, went in, talked to Greg for a bit. It was a fun time. There was, like, nobody else there. It was, like, really weird. And so, it's like, man, it's like, wow. I'm having a midlife crisis.
So
done with school. Now what?
Okay, so this current job you're applying for, if you don't get it, what's your game plan?
Well, just local stuff, I guess.
Okay.
And other stuff. Whatever. You know?
Are you happy? I don't know how to continue that question. Like, okay, so you're graduated. So
I'm satisfied to the degree I have. Yes. I think the digital media minor just really helped. Honestly, it really, really helped.
Good.
Like, I learned a lot. And like, yeah, with that, I'm satisfied. Whereas without that, I would just be like, I don't know. I'd still be wondering about.
Right.
So I'm happy with that,
Good.
Like, I could stay, do more, be greedy that way, but like, I have everything. I have the necessities.
Yeah.
And they've helped. Especially with a video that I just released last week. My Big Pony video.
Did that perform decently?
Okay, so like in a week, I got about 400 views.
Nice.
Which is, it's pretty solid for my channel, sure. But like, I would like some more.
I get that. But are views still trickling in?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
That's where it's at. So it's like, okay, after a week, it starts just stagnating.
Gotcha.
Like one every couple days. So, sometimes like it takes a few months for things to kick off. I know it's happened on my channel before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see. I am proud of this one. There's definitely more that I could have done with it, but like I am proud of it. Mm-hmm. The feedback I've gotten has been mostly positive. Yeah, pretty much positive. Yeah, no dislikes yet. Jinx.
Nice.
But yeah, no.
Yeah, I actually forgot about it. I'm sorry.
You forgot about it. That's fine. I never expected you to...
I probably added it to my watch later, but I keep forgetting to check it.
Well,
like I had so much to watch later. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the thing: when I go on YouTube, I'll add things to watch later because I'm not in the mood to watch it in the moment, right? But it's like, this is interesting, but I'm not in the mood. And then maybe once a month, I'll look in my watch later. And then it reaches its max at 5,000, and then I have to clear it all out.
Yeah, and so yeah, I am proud with how the video turned out. It's an hour and a half. I could use a lot more B-roll. Like, if you watch, you can understand where I could put the B-roll. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no.
It's not always the most fun.
No, B-roll. Yeah, it was definitely it was too late when I thought about it. It was already too late to go all the way back.
Yeah.
And start the process. I was ready near the end, and I was like, man.
Yeah. I get it. You had a specific thing you wanted, anyways, and you just wanted it out.
Yeah, if I were to do a future thing, I would add the B-roll. So I now know what I would do next. It's
it's good learning stuff.
Yeah, trial and error. Not everything's perfect in the first run.
Yeah.
And so yeah, hopefully video gets more noticed.
Let's hope you can get 1,000 views by the end of the month at the very least.
Okay, we'll see.
I said I hope. I didn't say it's gonna happen.
Again, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll
see.
The
fandom has a monthly thing of top 10 pony videos.
Oh, and so you're just looking at that list, I guess.
I mean, who knows if I could end up as an honorable mention or as part of that list? I mean,
right.
It's based on.
That should be coming soon, right?
That should be coming soon. I put my thing in submission, so we'll see.
Cool.
Good
luck.
Good luck. I just whatever. Whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's not like I spent a month on the video editing.
I get it.
But yeah, no, that's fun. Anyway,
I get that.
How are you doing, Christopher? What's going on with you? Good talk.
Yeah, good talk. I don't know. Life is life. I mean, it's stressful at times. I got some things here and there going on. But it is what it is, kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, life is not doing horribly. It could go much worse, and it's not. So I'm very thankful. So, but it's still stressful regardless.
It's not too bad.
Give me my ball.
Now there's that one comedian who talks about how British, the response to everything is it's not too bad, which is it's not good, but it could be worse.
Could be worse.
So it's not too bad. Yeah. What a different mentality to have.
Yep. So. So I'm very much curious.
You're curious?
Yeah.
What are you curious about?
Oh, you watched a little movie, a cheap, it wasn't that much to make. It was only $300 million.
It was the Barbie movie? Yeah.
So $300 million to make. No, that's a cheap movie.
Yeah. Cheap.
And Jones was $290, right?
I have no idea.
Well, it's expensive.
I mean, films are expensive, but yeah, no.
But
Indiana
here's
Jones
the thing:
and the Dial of Destiny.
I don't feel like we've seen many movies that have gone over $200 million until this year. We've had Fast X was $320, Flash is $220, Indiana is $290. The Little Mermaid I think also was $250. Those are expensive movies.
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
The thunder. That sounded really good. But yes, no, I watched that film, Indiana Jones. I am a big fan of Indiana Jones. My first film was Crystal Skull, one that people don't love, but like, hey, it got me hooked on Indy, so I guess it was doing some things right. I really enjoyed the Young Indiana Jones TV show. Really like that.
Now streaming on Disney Plus.
Now streaming on Disney Plus. Yes. And then there's this film. Not directed by the people who have been behind the series for like ever, but like a very solid director, James Mangold. And then there's also the studio and like 4 different writers. So, yeah.
I have a question.
Answer.
Because I've seen what James Mangold can do.
He can
I've
do
seen Logan. I've seen Ford versus Ferrari. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I've seen enough criticism about the direction of this movie. Do you feel like that is more because of the studio influence than James Mangold, or do you think this is James Mangold's fault?
I mean, even if the studio did not interfere, I don't think it would still be amazing. I think it'd be like a much better film, a solid film with interesting ideas than just. Let me look at my review.
I did briefly read it, but I just want to hear you expand on that more. But I don't also remember your review, so please read it.
Yeah, the review is that this film features all the major tropes that make up an Indiana Jones story, but it doesn't look like one. So pretty much, I think if James Mangold was just doing his own thing, we wouldn't have had all the major tropes that made up an Indiana Jones film. I think. And you can tell this just by like I want to say the first act, but it's harder to tell. Like the first 10 minutes are just like a flashback with that young Indiana Jones Harrison deepfake thing. But pretty cool. But like forget about that. Once we actually get into our older Indy, the film goes into an interesting direction that's similar to Logan. That would be... Honestly, I'm very conflicted. See, because like as soon as we get to that, everything that's objectively good about the last film, Crystal Skull, is thrown out. So like we have the happy ending. Now it's like, oh, this is the character that's they're dead now. He's divorced now, all off screen, by the way. And it's just like, as a fan, I just really don't like that. Because it's not like Star Wars, where I don't like what happened in The Last Jedi, but I know that they can fix it by just supplemental material years down the road. Indiana Jones, you can't really do that. At least not yet. Who knows if they'll try. And it's really disappointing. And that's like one of the first things that I noticed from the film. And so
by the way, I heard that.
You heard that, Thunder. Yes.
But like maybe it's because I was talking and it kind of muted you. Maybe that's why I didn't.
Yes, maybe.
Anyways.
Like, that threw my mood the entire off of the film, where I was conflicted the entire time, where it's like, man, like, honestly, nothing is terrible about this film. Like, it's just fine. It's your basic action adventure, but like it doesn't feel like Indiana Jones. And of course, that also has to do with directing, and cinematography.
It's just different styles.
Visually, it looks much different. I honestly just like I look at a screenshot, even just like in the past other films, even Crystal Skull. I look at a shot and it's like, it looks great. That's an iconic image that this film hasn't isn't quite going for. It's just serving the purpose of what needs to be done for that scene. Not, we're going to create this stylized image. They try a couple times, but it's not as effective. It just doesn't look as memorable. Honestly, like, the plot just doesn't really matter. It's just, it's fine. It's fine. I don't get the... honestly, just, again, I was completely thrown off by the open from the beginning.
Yeah.
And how they just threw away everything that I loved that the last film did. It's like, oh. I mean, sure, you could say that's more character development, but again, that's off screen. And it's like, it took them so long to get to that point. Like, what the heck? And then the ending is just terrible. I mean, again, I say that the ending feels like a reshoot. Because it's so sudden. In that,
honestly, I was hearing rumors about that.
Yeah, no, because the ending, it's a sweet ending. Like, it's very sweet, it's very nice, but it doesn't make any sense with what we were supposed to be given. It's like, it feels like we're supposed to go one way, but that way would have been too controversial. And so they're like, okay, let's just fix this. Bam! Let's give them everything we want. Character from previous films, welcome back. Hey, references. Yeah, isn't this really sweet? Isn't this what you want? By the way, the film's over. And it's just like, wait, what? This is how you end it? How is this the closure? This character wasn't even in this film the entire time. Why are they here now? Why? I don't know. But here they are.
So it's your least favorite, I guess.
Give me more time. I will say, yeah, it probably is. It probably is. Nothing is gained in the end which wasn't gained in previous installments. In fact, he is less than what he had. Kinda. Yeah, it's just okay. And, like, here's the thing. I wasn't going into this film expecting something good. As you know, I've mentioned this several times. I was very apprehensive about this film. I was expecting disappointment. And honestly, like, I met my expectation. I wasn't pleasantly surprised. It was just like, okay, there it is. Okay, it was fine. Like, it could have been much worse.
Right.
It probably was going to before. I assumed that was a reshoot, because if it's not, oh boy, that was kind of a bad ending. You know, I'm tired of giving films 3 stars.
Yeah. Been doing it a little too much lately, eh?
Yeah, because, like, that's just the quality of the films. They're 3 stars. Like, maybe I'm just... I mean, how many 3-star films do I have? Let me take a look. I have 79 3-star ratings. And that's just the stuff I rated. I mean, I also 3 stars. I have 46 TV shows that are 3 stars. Again, that's just the quality of the shows.
Oh, by the way, I did a little serialized updating. I didn't go super deep, but I did a few things.
Oh, okay. So what'd you do?
The added like favorite shows.
Okay.
But I plan to do a little more in-depth catching up, like adding in some shows I've seen.
Okay.
I mean, it's mostly Marvel, but there's a few here and there, like Ted Lasso or Severance.
Yeah.
But yeah, got to figure out how to do the Once Upon a Time thing. Also, I'm in season, I think, 22 with South Park, so I'm almost done.
Well, that's nice.
I just was like about a month ago. I'm like, you know what? I'm in like the last stretch. I don't know, season 18 or whatever. I'm like, as much as I enjoy coming home and watching a few episodes of South Park, I want to get it over with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm so close. I just want to say I've seen it all, basically. I mean, actually, there's a few episodes that aren't on Max. So, I think I've seen 3 of those episodes. So there's 2 of those I haven't seen yet. Besides those 2. Yeah. Yeah. Did you watch anything else?
Yes.
Worth talking about, at least?
I mean, worth talking about? I don't know. Is anything really worth talking about?
That's fair.
But in terms of what else that I watched in film-wise, nothing worth talking about. I mean, nothing that you would really care about.
Okay.
Like, I could talk about a couple DC animated films that I watched, but like, I don't know.
How do you feel about that new Superman show coming out? That new animated thing?
I honestly like it has. It's not been on my mind. Like I saw that it's a thing. It's like okay, I'm still watching other stuff.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, it's like yeah,
Yeah.
I'll watch it when I stumble across it. But like since it hasn't really aired yet, I'm not gonna really pay attention to it because I'm losing Max next week.
Oh, you are.
I removed the app from my tablet because it's still broken.
Yeah, I remember you canceling.
I hate it. The app just sucks.
It's been working fine on my Roku. I mean, I had one issue with the titles, and maybe during the first week it was obviously laggy, but like outside of that, it's been doing fine for me. I don't like the new. I prefer the old Max like homepage basically,
Sure.
but like outside of that, like it's been working fine for me.
It's really for me. It's just the continue watching doesn't work. The tablet just doesn't function at all. Like it takes like 2 minutes for the thing to load, and then like I press something, it just crashes. Won't
Gotcha.
watch
Because
anything.
like the continue watching's been working for me. Like I said, I've been going through South Park.
Yeah, again, it's like on my computer and on my PlayStation 4 works just fine.
Interesting. Okay, but not everywhere.
Again, like older hardware, probably not as functional.
That sucks.
So
It just blows my mind. Like, what is Warner Brothers doing? Like, spending so much money to replace HBO Max for Max, and Flash is flopping, and just like you're spending so much money. You know what I mean?
yeah,
For things to not go well.
we
Let's
have a
just
new
hope Heartbeat
casting
works out for them.
for Superman
Yeah.
and Lois. And they look fine. They look a bit young for me, but like they're fine.
I mean, honestly, they're probably going for young because they probably someone for a while.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I hope it's not another origin story. It probably will be ish.
I was hearing rumors that Superman's coming into a world where there's already superheroes. What do you make of that?
I mean, technically, Man of Steel is part of that because the Batman has been around for 20 years apparently.
Right. So I find it interesting. So it seems like they're going for another old Batman.
Yeah.
I'm. Do you feel like timeline DCU should take a break?
See, if they have no ideas, then yes. But since I guess Dunn has an idea.
Okay, but let's consider a few things.
Okay.
First, we have the Matt Reeves Batman.
Yes.
There's some people out there who do not understand why there are multiple Batmans. I know there are many people who do, but there's some people who don't. You know what I mean? Some people don't get it.
Sure.
And so for there to be practically with the upcoming Batman thing, like the 5th Batman iteration on the big screen I could be wrong. Fourth, I don't know. We have Clooney, we have Keaton, we have Pattinson, we have what's his name, Ben Affleck, and then fifth. So with Gunn's Batman be like the fifth Batman within 10 years on the big screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some people who can't handle all of that knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, you remember talking to me when I first got into Marvel or Star Wars. I couldn't get stuff right, and I still don't get stuff right, especially with Star Wars. You know what I mean? DC is still confusing me.
Sure.
Not as much, but still is. You know what I mean? For general audiences, like, it's a bit much. DC movies in the past year haven't been making as much as they wanted. They want to hit like 700 million, and arguably Black Adam was like the best DCEU movie in the past couple of years financially, which is shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking. And then, like, I'm not necessarily honking superhero fatigue, but, you know, like, with you know, people are, I mean, the box office is showing people not showing up for DC movies. And there's people who are being burnt out by Marvel. Like, do you think it would be wise if DC pumped its brakes, despite having a plan? Plan is fine, but the plan needs to make money. Because if Gunn can't make money, then he's gone. And Warner's going to try all over again. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I don't know. Like, do you... they're probably not, but do you think a break is a solid idea or not?
I mean, they just need something. They need something. So, like, even if they're not doing...
But, I mean, we have Matt Reeves' Batman, which is
and
something.
so that's fine. But, like, we just need stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, we
but
really...
But what if we gave that... I don't know. Like, I also... It'll be a matter of how well they're able to market their Elseworlds and their DCU. I think that will also be key. You know what I mean?
I mean, it doesn't bother me, but, you know...
It doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother me, but there's some people. You know what I mean?
Yes. You know, the disciples didn't understand Jesus when he told him about his death and resurrection multiple times. So, you know, sometimes it takes people's time to reflect back to really understand what...
But, like, there's some people who watched The Mandalorian but didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. That I agree is a problem. Yeah. That should not have been dependent on Boba Fett. I
think maybe my issue is that we're expecting audiences to know everything and keep up with everything.
Right. Maybe they'll try a route where you don't need to watch everything, but it's still connected enough. Like, because they're planning on having the comic books and the video games be part of the same universe as the films. So, the only way that would make sense for just a general audience is just to not really have that plot line be such a major importance, like WandaVision to Doctor Strange.
Right.
So, if they can manage to do a universe like that, but be able to make it each entry its own singular thing, then they should be fine. But, you know, sometimes people get sloppy.
I hope DC will be able to do Elseworld stuff for specifically their comic books.
Yeah. I mean, Gunn is just... He said in interviews, I sent you the clip, that...
I meant to watch it, I didn't.
Right. But he just says, like, they just need good stories versus just rushing to get stuff, which I agree. I don't know if the stuff that he selected is the right thing, but, you know, we'll see when it comes out.
That's true. I guess there has also been online distrust against Gunn because he was touting The Flash as the best movie of the year, and the general audience doesn't agree. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, there's some people who are like, well, can we trust Gunn? I mean, which is, first off, it's really incredible because, like, after Guardians, we're like, oh, we trust Gunn. And after Flash, we're like, we don't trust Gunn.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Gunn probably is just a real fan of the original story, and so seeing an adaptation close enough is probably good for him. Again, the Flash movie has a good concept, but like again, I feel like it doesn't go far enough. I don't know. I don't know what he likes. He likes comedy. He likes killing a bunch of people. So, well, it's whatever, you know. Like in 10 years, that's not going to matter.
True.
10 years, it's not going to matter. But yes, we got a new casting.
I think there's part of me, I'm not like a Snyder fanatic, right? But the more I really kind of think and hear about this Snyderverse not going well, the more saddened I am about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's not the DC that everybody wants, but
it was a DC. It was a plan, an idea.
How many stars did you give Snyder's Justice League?
3.5.
If part 2 was on the same level of that, would you have anticipated 3.5 again?
I mean, sure. Yeah.
Because I guess because what you gave Across the Spider-Verse 3.5, right?
I think so.
4. Because I can see you holding out that half star because the story isn't finished.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Spider-Verse is 3.5 because the story's unfinished.
Yeah.
So, Snyderverse could be much higher if the story was finished, for sure.
Yeah. And then also the reboot, just feels messy, specifically with Gunn, Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I mean, it's always messy. Like, no matter how they try, it's always been messy. It was messy in the comics. It was messy in the animated films that they were doing. Well, it's slightly better there. But yeah, it's going to be messy now.
I'm really curious if, like, Secret Invasion, if they're going to do something major in terms of, like, a scroll reveal. You know what I mean?
Right, sure. I don't know. I'm not watching the show.
Yet.
What are your thoughts on the AI intro, though? I can understand from a creative perspective, but, like, it is very worrisome.
It is very worrisome. Yes, I from the creative standpoint, I get it. Visually, does it do the job that they were claiming it to do? Yes.
But they might use it as an excuse to just do that.
It's a dangerous precedent.
It is. It is.
I don't know, man. Like, why does this world have to get scarier?
It's because the Bible told us so.
Yeah.
You know, end times. We all thought it was 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Still going. It's getting even more scarier.
I'll say this.
Yeah.
Because the company behind the AI intro released a statement of saying, it didn't harm anybody's livelihood. Prove it. You know what I mean? Like, show us the process of how you made it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Even if you don't believe it, like, are you correct?
Like in using AI?
Like, are you correct that your assumptions are that it's not stealing from other things that you don't know about?
Right.
Yeah.
And also the fact that this is happening during the writer's strike.
Oh.
That's fun.
It's all fun, We're gonna forget about it in 10 years. I guess.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Are you hoping the actors go on strike?
Actors?
Yeah.
Like, actors are the least people to go on strike. It's like every part of the crew needs to go on strike. Actors, like, they're fine. Maybe background actors, sure. Main actors that are getting paid millions, no.
But
maybe TV actors, but like
I thought it was interesting that they extended the talks for the actors. So the deadline, they didn't come to an agreement. They extended the deadline. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I thought that was interesting. But
actors are more important than writers, apparently.
Yeah, which is very unfortunate. Well, at the end of the day, I think there is an element where the writers are the most important, but outside of that element, they're all equal because every single person brings the thing to life.
Yes.
Like if actors go on strike, then that just shuts down Hollywood effective. Right now, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm sure we'd love that. Hire YouTubers to star in your films.
Would you, if actors went on strike, would you? Do you think that would benefit the writer's strike negotiations or not?
I don't know. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Maybe it could. Maybe they'd be like, man, we gotta deal with this too. Okay, writers, here you go. We'll take the L. But actors, nah.
So Paramount Plus did we talk about Paramount Plus removing stuff?
What did they remove again?
Oh, again?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Everybody's removing stuff these days.
The major thing that Paramount Plus took down was an animated kids Star Trek show.
Maybe I've heard something about that, but I don't know. I have not been paying attention to the new Star Trek.
Well, I've heard Picard season 3 is really good though.
I've heard that too.
Anyways, but the point is, Paramount Plus has been hailing Paramount Plus the home of Star Trek. Everything Star Trek at your fingertips. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They take down the show, but they're shopping it out because they're still producing season 2. They're finishing that out. It'll just be on a different platform.
Okay.
It's just odd that not. I mean, at the end of the day, I understand everything's expensive. That's why things are being cut. But now I can't call it home Star Trek. And it made me think about, Disney and Hulu removing Runaways. And then Disney Plus also removed some more things. Nothing, quote, major, but the most interesting removal is a movie called Crater, which just hit the platform 2 months ago.
Okay.
So that's another Disney Plus original that got a shorter lifespan than a Willow. Wild. So, yeah, it's just interesting.
It's all going crazy.
It's all going crazy.
Nobody won't know what to do. It's like, we're gonna cut everything.
Yeah. Oh, there was that movie Owen Wilson did, Secret Headquarters.
Okay.
That was on Paramount Plus. That was also taken down. Okay. But at least on that front, like at least it's on DVD.
I guess, yeah.
So they got that going for them.
Physical media.
Physical media.
Physical media. Yep. Max is ending soon, and so do you know what I'm doing right now?
Oh, Smallville.
Well, with Max.
You watched a few DC animated movies.
I did.
You're not watching TV shows because of continual watching.
Well,
I am wrong.
Let's assume that because this thing ends and I don't feel like wanting to getting it again anytime soon.
You're watching House of the Dragon.
No. But I'm watching The Last of Us.
Oh, okay.
I am, yes.
What episode are you on?
I'm on episode 5. I started today. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna binge this.
Nice.
Just to be done with it.
Yeah.
Then I'll probably get to House of the Dragon if I have time.
Right.
Because it's just 10 episodes. I can do that. I can do that. Unlike Smallville, 23 episodes. Ugh.
How's what's the freaking name?
Last of Us.
Last of Us. Yeah.
It is solid, but I prefer the game.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Yeah, the game. The game, just from a storytelling, it focuses from the perspective of one character.
For
the most part. The TV show is cutting to different people whenever it suits them. It does flashbacks to years prior because I don't know. I guess they want to do that.
Yeah.
And they did a flashback, and for this one episode, you probably have heard stuff about it, but the flashbacks really take away the mystery of the game. Of what is this? How do we know? And you just wander around and you pick the clues, but you don't really know. It's just observational. But here they're just straight telling you, and they're showing us famous set pieces, but not going to them, which makes sense because it would be very expensive and just. And they don't really function too well for the story at hand. But there's a couple parts where I'm like, they didn't do that. But that was actually really cool. Why did they not do that? Instead, they just did something kind of, I guess it's fine, I guess. But I really like the other thing. Right. But it's still a solid show. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, of course, I just prefer the game.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then in terms of what shows I finished Timeless, a time travel show from 2016. It's such a basic show. These characters are so incompetent. They have no right to be using the time travel machine past one episode.
What's some of the shenanigans they get themselves into?
It's they're supposed to stop this guy from destroying history. But apparently, these are the only characters they'll send back in time. And they keep making all the wrong choices. It's
how else do you have a TV show?
It's don't do anything to mess up history. First thing they do, I gotta save this person's life. And it's dude, you're messing up history. It's I don't care, they're still a person. It's just then they change history. It doesn't make sense. It's so convoluted. Then of course the show gets canceled, and so the final episode is just them rushing everything, and it's so terrible.
Why did you watch it?
I heard that it was a fun show, there's a couple parts that were fun, but like towards the end, I was like, "Why are you doing this? You're so dumb." Like there's this whole plot line where it's like, "You can't be here. If you do this, you will die. I saw in a vision." And so they spend like 10 minutes complaining about this instead of just leaving, and they would have just been fine. It's like,
Okay,
why are you arguing about this? Like, it's not this. It's because you stayed at this exact time. You had so much time to. Everybody's so stupid.
Did they end up saving the world?
I have no clue how they did that. You know, but they did by
Good.
Reasons.
Reasons.
Yes.
Good.
You know,
how many
they were
seasons?
planning. There was 2 seasons, but like they were clearly planning for like hoping for like 5. Because like they were just hinting at things. Oh, we will find out like 5 years down the line. Like that's what they were hoping. And then it's like, oh wait, we can't get past this season. I guess we're gonna do it now. It's so contrived.
Okay, question.
Hmm.
So, I was thinking about Agent Carter.
Mm-hmm.
This is related. And even though they teased a few things for season 3, not to mention the ending of the last episode, season 2 is still a cohesive story enough, right?
I don't like season 2, but yeah, sure. Let's say that it is.
It's within its own box. Same with season 1, right?
Yes.
It's not like a story that was planned out for 7 seasons and they only did 2. And
like Loki.
Like Loki. Well, yeah. And I was just, for a moment, I was like wondering just like how it interferes with the rest of the MCU. Like, is it going to be like Mandalorian, where you have to watch Quantumania in between? You know what I mean? Or whatever. But with these shows, for example, there was a recent show on Netflix. I can't remember its name because it has such a similar name to another show. But like the showrunners, the first show they did on Netflix did really well. I think it was called Dark. And then, so they did 3 seasons for that. That was the show. So they did another show for Netflix, and it got canceled after the first season. They were planning 3 seasons. So obviously, it didn't really go anywhere, right? Stranger Things is a show where it's like the first season was a contained story that hinted to a second season, but it was a contained story, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then as Stranger Things was popular enough, like despite season 4 being relatively contained, it definitely was like a part 1 to part 2. You know what I mean? Like, because they're like season 4 is like the beginning at the end kind of thing. Then again, season 5 is a time jump. Whatever. Anyways, but like each season is relatively cohesive within its own story. It's not, despite it being an overarching story, each season is cohesive. That if, Stranger Things did get canceled at season 3, like that's still, a good show to watch as is, you know what I mean? But a show, that is planning for like 5 seasons gets canceled after 1 season. Okay, this is my question. I know it's within their rights to be creative as much as they want, but is this wise to do?
I don't think it's wise. I don't think it's wise. Like, I do think that there's seasons should be contained enough that you can have a cliffhanger, but it doesn't have to be a thing where it's like, oh, this is just the beginning of the story. Lots of animes do this with their first season. In fact, this next show that I'm going to talk about that I just watched, Unicorn Warriors Eternal. It's the newest Genny Tartakovsky series. This season is a prologue to future stories, except like it hasn't been greenlit yet. That from future seasons, and so I got to the end of the season. I'm like, boy, I'm really tired of just stories just not being finished in one season. Again, it's fine. I have. Here's an example. season 1 of Arrow ends with like disaster. You could say it's a cliffhanger, but it's self-contained enough where if it ended there, you could say he failed and this is the end of the show. It's not like, oh, the villain got away, everybody got away. Here's the plot for the next season. It's like, no, this is what happened from the first season. This is where we're going to end it. And then, of course, they build it off of that in the second season and so forth. British television usually just sticks to like each season being its one story. For the most part. Unless you're like Sherlock, then that's I mean, that doesn't really count, but sure. But yeah, American television just loves their cliffhangers. To just point. Like, I just finished another season of that 90s Superman show. And I'm just like, we got to the end. And it's like, what? It's a cliffhanger? Oh my gosh. It's, cliffhangers, man. I get them, but like, I just really wish they wouldn't do that. Because it's also because they never really fulfill the cliffhanger by the next episode. It's always just, it's really underwhelming. Because season 2 of The Flash ends with him starting the famous Flashpoint story. The season 3 premiere is just that story in one episode with like nothing, and it's very disappointing. And so just they often they don't actually serve the cliffhangers well. They just like shove it off so we can start whatever is next.
So you mentioned it with the 90s Superman show animated. Has this...
It's not the animated, it's the live action.
Oh, it's live action? My bad.
Yes.
Has this just been a problem with American television this whole time? Or did it start happening around that
time? Definitely once season-long stories have started, that's when they started to do these sorts of things. They had cliffhangers at the end of the season.
Not necessarily cliffhangers, but like overarching stories.
Overarching stories.
Okay, my bad. Okay, let me ask about Superman. Was it a cliffhanger as in this overall story wasn't finished, or it was a cliffhanger if we do another season?
The cliffhanger is Superman asks Lois, "Will you marry me?" And it pauses right before she responds with "To be continued." And it frustrates me because like the entire episode was him like struggling with like, should I tell Lois I'm Superman? But he just then decides, I guess I'll ask her to marry me when we've not really been dating at all. I'm frustrated that that's what he asked, and that's the cliffhanger they decided to choose. Because again, that's the logical choice for ratings. But like, again, a cliffhanger. Oh, I'm sure that by that point they knew they were getting another season.
Oh, do you have another season?
There's 2 more seasons.
Oh, okay.
So like, I know.
I thought it was canceled.
Oh no. Okay. Like there are more seasons, but like I stopped there because Max is ending, and I don't have time to watch 22 more episodes.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, I have to wait like a whole year to find out if she answers yes, which she's not, for like at least another season. You know, it's frustrating.
So you're saying British shows don't have cliffhangers?
No.
What a wonderful world that is.
No, they just stick to just doing each season is one story.
Right.
Unless you're Sherlock.
I'm not going to lie. I think knowing how, like, really hearing more about like these shows that, are incomplete or whatever, you know what I mean? The more I don't want to watch shows that are in progress, especially in progress.
I know.
So now, like, hearing about Succession, is that a show that I'm necessarily interested in? Not really. But hearing that it's a complete story, I might watch. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I just want a complete story, a story that actually was able to be in its proper form.
Apparently, Primal's gonna get a season 3.
Primal? What's that?
It's another Gendy Tartakovsky thing. But, like, I don't know how they're gonna do that.
Oh, those are fireworks in my area.
Look at that. I wonder why. It must be 4th of July. All right, so mixtapes. Have we listened to any?
I didn't talk about what I watched.
So what did you watch?
It's a short overview. So last Monday I did a doubleheader. I went to the theater. Very surprising. Well, I said that so sarcastically. Anyways, there's a A24 Korean movie. Korean A24 movie. I don't know what to say. That it was getting a lot of good positive reviews, and I'm like, well, since it's Korean, I kind of want to see it. You know what I mean? Actually, I didn't know it was an A24 movie. Actually, so that was because I know sometimes like streaming, like distribution, can be weird sometimes. You know, for international stuff. So it was kind of like, okay, I don't know if I'll be able to see this unless I arg it. So I did want to see it, and then I walked in and it shows A24. Like, oh, that's cool, really cool. Anyways, it's solid. It's called Past Lives. It's solid. I don't have a lot of deep thoughts about it. I did spend some time thinking about it, but I don't have a lot to say about it really. I watched Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh yes, you did.
I don't think the story is well told.
Honestly, that's just the films based off real life in general.
Well, so the person I watched it with, she's a huge Queen fan. And she was telling me parts that were like over dramatized or didn't happen. And I'm like, wow, they really just try to make a movie instead of trying to tell the actual story.
Biopics in general. That's what it is.
So,
but yeah, Bohemian definitely. There's a lot of people were like really upset about that.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even really know that the reception was that negative until after I watched it and looked at some reviews.
I mean, I somewhat enjoyed it, but like, yeah.
I think I will say this: at the very least, it made me appreciate Queen more. At the very least, like I can appreciate the creative, mind space a lot more than I did.
I appreciate the level they went to recreate footage.
Yeah, that's also pretty cool. But yeah, I don't think it's a great movie, but it was interesting.
Sure. Yeah, for like
I'm glad I watched
viewing.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. Music, it's Queen, so of course it's fun.
Yeah. All right. I guess after like 3 months, I guess we should probably talk about it.
So who wants to go first? Me and with your mixtape, or
here's the thing. I think like I just want to get over your mixtape.
Okay. All right. So the video game mixtape. Yes.
Pull it up.
Yes.
I mean, like, did I listen to it? Yes, but also I'm missing a track on, Spotify.
Yes.
Oh, that was the. I was also wondering what mixtape did I send you, and now I see it. Like, okay, that makes sense.
Yes, the top songs of 2022 that you sent me months ago.
Yes. Okay. Let's see.
The songs are for the audience listening. The songs are Minecraft from Minecraft, Fallout 4 main theme, Ezio's family from Assassin's Creed's crew, The Last of Us theme, Nate's theme from Uncharted 3, Arkham Origins main titles, Assassin's Creed 3 main theme, A Legitimate Businessman from GTA 5, Hazardous Environments from Half-Life 2, Courtesy Call from Portal 2, Twilight Sparkle stage theme from Fighting is Magic, Floral Fury from Cuphead, and Still Alive from Portal.
Okay. I with Minecraft, the one other time, was it your chill mix?
Did you have a chill mix?
Okay.
The ambient mix.
Ambient mix. I just really like. I was shocked how much I liked it. So obviously, I like that.
Of course.
I'm like skimming.
Yeah.
So sorry. I think like going through. I'm horrible. Going like through these songs, like they're solid stuff. Not all of them like necessarily individually. I thought Last of Us was really interesting. Just actually like reminded me of an artist I like named Phil Keggy. Like he has like some instrumental pieces that kind of like feel like you're like traveling and adventurous. You know what I mean?
I also like that the show has kept the music as well.
Oh, that is cool. There was part of me that like the Fallout theme and Enzo's family kind of blend in, but like there's still solid pieces. Arkham was interesting because like you played some Arkham for me before, right?
Yes, and you so, like the main song, and so I chose. This is my favorite track from that game. That game.
It was really interesting.
Music. Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go.
I finished.
And it was really interesting, like hearing something like not a song I've heard before, but it was like the sound I recognized, because of like the Bane theme. Assassin's Creed theme like sounds big, bold, and adventurous.
Interesting that that's the one that's adventurous. I get
it. It sounds like you're sailing on the ocean almost. You know what I mean?
They do have. Okay, yeah.
They do?
They do sail on some missions, yeah.
I had no clue.
No clue. Yeah.
Okay, and then we started to like take a turn when we hit a legitimate businessman.
Oh yeah, that's when we got into more technical side of things.
Yeah. What Grand Theft Auto?
Grand Theft Auto, yes.
I would have never expected this to be the score. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting, but not this. So like kind of like took like a mental turn where it's like, oh wow, that's not what I expected,
Yeah, I mean, most of the game you're probably listening to just real music from the radio, with like during like some fighting segments or something, they'll play some songs like this one here, which this was the main one that caught my ear. I was like, that's actually quite makes you in the mood for action, I guess.
With the Half-Life song Hazardous Environments, what's the atmosphere for this? Because it sounds atmospheric to a degree, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Not like a big theme, but it's like
so this song is technically like the theme, just they open the game. So this song sets you in the mood of the environment, I guess. So hazardous environments, the world is like kind of run down, aliens and stuff or whatever. There you go, I guess.
Portal to Courtesy Call. This out of the 3 Portal songs you played me, probably my favorite, because the first one you played me was long and repetitious, and we'll get to the other one in a moment.
Yeah, this one I chose because like it had different stuff in it. It wasn't just repetitious. It gave you like different stuff throughout the song.
Yeah. So that almost like, you know what you said, like different stuff and sound more like a progress instead of like the, I don't know, the continual glitch like the first one was, which I'm like, again, in context is probably fine, but just like on its
like
own,
so like
it's just
when
like,
you're
okay, please end.
doing a level, that's sure it's meant to repeat like that.
Right.
This is not something you repeat. This is like during a scene they'll play. So
yeah. Twilight Sparkle.
Yep.
Stage theme. I mean, it sounds like what it's for.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to like talk about this one a lot because it's so different from everything else, which is odd because I'm very scant in like my thoughts with everything else. But It's like it's so different where it's like what I guess was it just for you to give me another Taste of Pony?
Yeah, plus like it's technically like a video game thing. So the story behind this is that, do you know in general like fighting games like Street Fighter, where like you just have these two characters on either side of the screen and you just have them fight each other?
I'm not too familiar,
but me explaining
I can create that concept in my head.
Yes, and so like that's a genre of game. You know, you have Street Fighter, of course, Mortal Kombat is part of that genre.
Okay.
And so some fans made a game using the MOP characters. And so this was the music that they created for that game. But then they got a cease and desist from Hasbro because Hasbro didn't like them. I think it was less that they were using their IP, but I think the IP is definitely a big issue, of course. But since then, you know, the creator of the show, Lauren Faust, she heard about that. She was like, "Oh, that's kind of sad. Like, hey, would you guys like if I drew you original characters? Could you like create a game based off of that?" And so they did that. And so that's it's been successful for them. So that was nice.
That's awesome.
But this was really a piece of music from that original thing. Okay. And it's definitely a popular one within the fandom.
Did you play it?
No. No, I don't know if you could find it. You probably can.
So was this before your time?
This was definitely before my time. Yes.
Oh, okay. Did you play the new version?
The new game, I did not. I don't play a lot of games. But maybe one day we'll. I don't know.
Okay. What's Cuphead?
It's a game.
That threw me for a loop.
Cuphead.
It was hilarious. Yeah.
You don't know what Cuphead is.
No, I don't.
It's the game is a tough one. It's hard to explain because you're not as familiar with gaming history.
Okay.
So like it's a run and gun / boss beat me up. Like I'd have to show you clips of the gameplay for you to get it, but even then you probably wouldn't get it. But yeah, in general, it's like, okay, it's you fight bosses at stages, and different bosses have different theme. And there's a flora boss who's just like a giant flower, and they're fighting a giant flower, and this is the song they give the giant flower.
Gotcha.
This is the best song from the entire game.
When I heard it, like, it threw me for such a loop. And I was probably so tired. It was probably one of those moments where it's like, oh my gosh, I have to get to bed. This is messing me up so much. But it's fun. It is
a fun song. Like, just take it outside of the game. It's just a fun, jazzy song.
Right, but like in the context of this mix, I was just like, what? It threw me for such a loop.
Yeah, it was difficult to find the place to put the last few. But, like, those are just the ones that I think of when I think of the game songs.
Yeah.
And so I just put it at the end in, like, the weird section.
And speaking of weird section...
Still Alive, which is a song. With lyrics that you probably wouldn't understand.
Yeah, if I played the game, I probably wouldn't have the reaction I'm having right now.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it that way. I just like it. It's just one of those things out of context where just like this is just weird that I don't love. You know what I mean?
How's the melody though?
Melody?
The melody of the song, just in general.
You know what? I probably listen to it because I heard it once when I was in someone's car, like 2 years ago, and I probably gave it another full listen. You know, in listening to this, and in all the other times I keep skipping it because I'm just like I don't love it. So I listen to everything else. I just like that one. Like it is one of the ones that obviously I have the most words about, but it's just like I'm just not associated with its context for me to appreciate it to any degree. Not to mention its weird voice. And then also the lyrics is a little, like, again, in context, fine. But just, like, out, I'm just like, hee.
Sure. Yeah. That would make sense. But as for me, within the context, I love the song. It's a fun listen.
Yeah, I can't understand how that can be the case. So, all in all, like, through, say, like the Minecraft to Assassin's Creed, like it's a enjoyable listen. It's it's relatively diverse from like the ambience of the Minecraft to like the more exotic sounds of The Last of Us. Oh, did I talk about Uncharted?
You did not. No,
I did not. It's just let me pull that up.
Yeah. So his theme is the same for the first 3 games, but like each game has a different sound to it based upon the environment of the game that he's in. So in this one, like he's more in the desert, and so you get more of that desert-y sound. It's the most triumphant sounding of the themes, and so this is the one that I like the most.
Okay, I have a question. How much do you feel like video game soundtracks from movie soundtracks?
Ask the question again, please.
How much do video game soundtracks differ from movie soundtracks? Because they serve different causes. Like video games, like they could be a loop, for a fight that you're in, or or in a movie, sometimes it could be used to support a scene than to necessarily be present. Like there are different uses, but like, what are some like other things that I'm not aware of? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, video game music is also just to fill time. Like, if you're just standing around doing nothing, like, it'd be boring if all you're listening to is just the ambiance of the place. And so they'll probably fill that with some music. That's where you'll get most of Minecraft music of just, like, it'll play at random points in time. Like, it's not scripted. It's just they'll play the song whenever. Usually, for the most part, it happens during, like, the sunset. But like, yeah, they'll have music to fill the space. Like films, they'll use it to like describe the scenery, the ambiance, like the ambiance mix. A lot of it was video games, but also, it gives you the theme of a character, and then whenever the character does something, they'll play the theme, which is something that they really should do for films. but a lot of people forget about themes for some reason, so they don't.
I do find it odd, specifically with like Marvel, like they may write a theme for a character and then they don't use it, and so it's unrecognizable to me.
Right, yeah. Right, yeah. Like they really should have the same theme for each character. And they've been trying in recent films. Like the Avengers had that Avenger theme, but like it took a while to get back to that.
Right.
But yeah, no. For the most part, they serve the same purpose. Video game themes, music doesn't always stand out as much because their purpose is just to fill the space. But sometimes they do, and that's when it's memorable.
Mm-hmm. I guess also when I think of themes, like sometimes, like I think about the Avengers where they're like certain notes I can point out, but also I'm familiar enough with the theme that I know those certain notes. So like listening to this, like I'm not familiar enough with the song for me to pinpoint like, oh, if I was playing the game and I'd hear this, you know what I mean? Then I know what it is.
And so stepping back up, if we go to Ezio's family, that was the theme for the character of Ezio, the main character for this and a couple of other games of the series. And this song was supposed to be that character's theme. But then it was very popular. People loved it. So they kind of made it the theme of the game series. Which, you know, it's a recognizable theme for the series, but it belongs specifically to that character. It doesn't always work with other characters.
Gotcha. It's a beautiful piece, though.
It is beautiful. I do think it's a bit long, this specific version of the song, but it is beautiful.
Yeah. Like, it's stirring. It's great. Yeah, so... I think kind of aside from this, like the flipping point is when we get to like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Where like I mean the hazardous environments feels more like an ambience track, and I mean Courtesy Call. I mean kind of works more like could work with the first half. I see why you put it where it is. You know what? I wonder, what if Courtesy Call was like the in-between point between Assassin's Creed and Grand Theft Auto? I do wonder. Like, would that transition would have been smoother or not?
I don't know. I mean, I of course have tried multiple variations. Like this was the one that I attracted to the most in the end. So maybe they work better.
I know we've talked about like, you know, you showing me scores so that they don't necessarily have lyrics, and then it's odd that, you know, right now I'm like the one with lyrics is the one I don't love the most. But also like again, it kind of does come down to the voice where it's just like, I don't really care to hear this voice in my head, you know?
The robot voice singing.
Yeah. Like again, that's why I say because like when you listen to play the game, you hear that voice, right?
Yes, that is that is a character.
So I don't have that context at the very least. Like I know I was also dogging on the lyrics, but I don't think that would have been as much of what I would be complaining about if the voice was more tolerable or if I recognized the voice.
Yeah. Like also like it's just getting used to that style, because I definitely for sure when I first heard this piece I was like, what is this? It's kind of weird. But then like the more I got into it, it's like, oh okay, I know what this is. It sounds nice actually.
Yeah. So all these games have you played?
So here's the thing. I don't play games really, but I've watched walkthroughs. That's basically what I do. So all these games I have watched walkthroughs of. Yes.
What's your favorite game that you've played?
That I've played probably Lego Star Wars or Star Wars Battlefront.
So is that the Lego Star Wars? That is not the new thing.
No, it's the old classic ones on my old PS2. Because like that, it's nostalgia reasons. It was like the first video games that I played. Very fun. I spent like 60 hours on that game.
Fun. Why don't you play video games today?
Well, so a lot of it's money, and then there's time, and then difficulty. So right now, I've actually been playing one of the Arkham games, but like I've stopped at a certain point because it's too difficult for me to do. Like I'm sure if I spent hours, I could probably do it, but like I don't want to spend hours. Yeah. Like I'm too self-conscious with my own life to do that. Mm-hmm. If I spend hours on one thing, it's like, what's the point?
So, if there ever is a PS6, and then you see a PS5 for $100, are you picking it up or not?
For $100? Oh yeah, sure.
How much did you get your PS3?
PS4.
PS4.
For 200.
200. Okay, so then if you found a PS5 for 200,
maybe. Like we'll get to when we get there. It's also like right. I have to calculate: are there enough games for me to play on the PS5?
Does the PS5 play 4K movies?
I think so.
Would that be raw or not?
No.
Is the TV in the basement, is that a 1080 or 4K TV?
The TV?
In the basement.
I think it's 1080 or the stuff in between 1080 and 4K.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay. Just curious.
Like Blu-ray is right now it's all I need.
Right. I will say this, what I'm hearing with 4K, like studios that are like going back to their older movies and upscaling and remastering their older movies. For example, recently The Truman Show, which is about to or already has released on 4K. They haven't updated the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray is one of the first Blu-rays released that wasn't like a great upgrade, you know what I mean? But sure. The 4K is like an actual like rescan of like the original movie, and when I hear something like that, it kind of, not that I know a lot of older movies, but it's almost like, oh, that's kind of the cool thing about 4K. But obviously, it's too much money for me to upgrade right now. But like, it does make me intrigued. But it also, I sort of think, also is a matter of like, do they roll this out to streaming? Because if they don't update their Blu-rays, will they update the streams online? Which they probably will, but they might not. Who knows? I just find it interesting.
Sure. So Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It limits you on how many tweets that you can see in a day. It's dumb, but like I think at most I'll like see 200 on like a day where I'm expecting a lot of news, like during Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah.
So I don't look at a lot of tweets, but like I see a lot of people have their entire lives on Twitter, so I could see them being angry about it.
Yeah, Twitter's where I get my news, and true, it's mostly movie news, but it's where I get my news. You know what I mean?
It is.
And so,
yeah, mostly movie news, casting, stuff like that.
Yeah, so to
people not dying,
be able to see anything was rough. Like, because like it wouldn't even really load for me. Like, I would like update, and it would say can't show tweets, and it wouldn't update for like, it would only update like every like 3 hours or something.
Okay.
It's frustrating because Twitter is like the app I go into the most to just refresh. Right now, I have a nice system right now where I have like 3 tabs. My middle tab is my following tab. The tab on the left is the For You, and then the tab on the right is like accounts I don't necessarily want to follow, but like occasionally just want to see what they tweet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been very happy with my system, and then kind of see it like where I've gotten to a point where I really like my Twitter feed, like kind of fall apart. I was just like really frustrated, like not super frustrated, but like I just got it to perfection. You know what I mean? Just within the past few weeks, I was very happy with my Twitter experience. Like this was like the most I was enjoying Twitter. Because there's some like accounts that I've followed where I'm like, this is interesting, but not something I always want to see in my feed. Like there's one account about like biblical counseling or whatever. I find it interesting. Maybe in like 10 years I'll look at their resources. But I just like had it followed because I didn't want to lose it. But I didn't want to see their tweets every day. You know what I mean? So now I have it in that other tab where it's like, okay, you're just there. You know? I don't have to look at these tweets. Only if I'm like super bored, I'm like, fine, I'll catch up on these. You know what I mean? And even at that, just like scroll really quickly. So I really like, cleaned up my Twitter feed. I was really happy.
Here's a good thing that YouTube did.
What did YouTube do?
They finally added an oldest filter on YouTube videos.
Really?
Yeah, I can now look at the oldest video of a channel. It's so great.
Oh my gosh.
It took them long enough, but like they finally did. I'm so happy for that.
Oh my god. That's so cool!
So cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Finally. Finally. We have the power.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh, that is great.
That is great.
This is happiness.
This is happiness. YouTube actually did something good for once. I mean, yeah. I mean, they do some other good stuff, I guess, but this is something that we've been wanting.
Wow.
It's something that we had.
Yeah.
That we lost, but now we got it back.
Yeah, we're back. Oh, we're so back.
We're so back, boys.
We're so back. Oh my gosh, that's great.
It is great.
Thank you for telling me.
Yeah, no, I just stumbled upon it. It's like, doth my eyes deceive me? Is that true? Is it a test?
Does it still have like the For You sorting?
No.
It doesn't on my end.
It does not.
It has latest, popular, and oldest.
Yep, that's what I have.
Cool.
For You was interesting, but I'm glad that it's not there to be my default.
Yes. I think latest should be default.
I've forgotten it's existed, actually, so...
I think at the very least, if there should be an option of what you want optional.
Yeah.
Specifically, if they were to incorporate that For You, like there's some people who want the For You, but also here's the interesting thing: that a lot of creators are so focused on the present. There's some creators that are gonna cringe when they realize that YouTube's only recommending their 5-year-old videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cringe.
That would be cringe.
But sure. Yeah. Would you like me to get into your best of 22 mixtape finally?
Yeah. I'm glad we're recording because last time it didn't record, right?
What do you mean?
I thought there was one time you were like roasting my music, and I don't think it recorded.
That was a year ago, I think.
Yeah. I could be remembering it wrong.
You probably are. I don't know. I
had a ball with that. That was so much fun.
Was that like while I was listening in the car or something? I don't know.
No, you went through best of your list, and you just like tore up each song, and I was just laughing.
I don't remember that, but I'll take your word for it.
Again, I don't remember if that was safe or not. I feel like there's something we did that you tore up my music that I loved and it didn't get saved. I forget. But
I mean, that was a video that we were planning to do. Remember?
That was a different kind of video.
But sure, I did that. I was ripping the music
Yeah. Did I send you?
You did. You did.
Okay. Just making sure. So just as much as I barely gave you stuff, feel free to do whatever you want because I suck, and so you can suck at me too. So.
What are you talking about?
Like, I don't feel like I gave a lot of thoughts on your tape.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel bad.
It's fine.
I'm just saying, like,
Honestly, I don't care. I was done with that anyway.
That's fair. All right.
All right. This is your mixtape for the best songs of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Rated from 10 to 1.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, I think this first one is the only one that I have to give an excuse for after you finish saying what you're saying.
So what's your excuse for this one? Let's say this was such a weird song. I was like, huh, this is number 10?
Yeah.
This is such an odd song. Like, what is this? Is this even a song? I don't know.
The album is it's a story.
I figured it would be.
Yeah. So this is the oddest song of the bunch.
The song is called Poltimala.
I don't know how to say it either. So, first off, I want to say, yes, I've only listened to the album once. I really recommend the album. I think it was second or third favorite album of last year. Okay. I really love the album. And that song was a standout because it's the oddest one of the bunch.
All right.
And in fact, actually, that was the song I revisited the most afterwards. But the rest of the album is normal. I know the album's not going to be your vibe, so I'm not asking for you to check it out. But if anyone was curious, check out is American Pastor's Daughter by Ethel Cain is what it's called. It's just well told. It's a well told story, and especially with an album I feel like it's just really hard to do. It's really hard to tell a story in an album, in my opinion.
Especially like when you I guess I just went right into the middle.
Yeah.
With this song, and it's like, what the heck is going on?
And
who's this? Is this Jesus talking to this girl? Is this the devil? I have no idea. What is this?
I will say this though. Looking at this list, I kind of have mixed feelings about including that track because it is such an oddity. I used the list that I used when I published my list, right?
Yeah.
So I think in hindsight, I probably would have changed some things, but I'm like, I'm going to overthink that so much.
Okay.
That's,
Yes.
That's that one.
It's probably the only song where I was like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
But the rest was fine. So the next is Attention by New Jeans.
Which New Jeans?
Have I listened to the Powerpuff one?
Yeah!
I did not, no.
No, it hasn't released yet. Sorry, my bad, I misheard you. This month.
What?
The stuff is releasing this month, so we'll have fun with that, I guess.
Well,
I'll keep you updated with it.
I'm sure you will.
I'll figure out how we're gonna approach that. But, anyways, whatever. All right.
I don't really have much to say about this one. It's it kind of goes into the background a bit, but there is a little bit of a bop to it, which is fine. Again, it's early on in the album, so I probably won't remember it fully. But yeah, Bonnie and Clyde, I think.
I'll just say with Attention, I think what just captured me was the chorus of just like how light it was.
I'm sure.
It was refreshing to hear.
Yes. Bonnie and Clyde by Davida. I think I liked aspects of it.
I
don't remember. Like I don't think there was anything negative about it. I think it's like you put it on the background, it's fine. It's sure, it's fine. Yeah,
I guess sometimes ballads can be hit or miss. Like I bet for you, I bet you could give me a mix of ballads that really hit you.
Ballads.
And they're not going to hit me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of ballads, but sure.
Yeah, but like there's some that really strike your fancy. You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah.
And so I think this was just one of those ballads that I really liked, but I'm not expecting people to fall in love with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we got Snowy from ITZY. The thing I recognized is that there was the Mozart's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the song, I don't know. I wasn't as impressed with the song. What else did ITZY do? Can you remind me?
I have to let me pull up my previous K-pop next word JPL. Yes. Sneakers. Put my sneakers on. Okay. I'm ready to get set go.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. This one, it didn't really stand out to me that much.
Okay.
But Forever One, this is the first one that this was on the last mixtape with the K-pop, so I recognize this one. Nice bop, yeah. That's
an upgrade.
Did I not like it last time?
No, you said it was the blandest, most boring.
See, compared to everything else on that mixtape, yes.
Okay.
Here, I think it stands out to me a bit.
Okay.
Maybe it's just me listening to it again.
Okay.
But like from what we had listened to within the past 5 songs, this is one that stood out. Besides the first one, for obvious reasons. It's a fine bop, sure. Yeah, it's fun. Ontario from Boxin. We've listened to Boxin before. Was that 2022?
Yeah, that was last year.
Interesting. Okay, I thought it was 21, but okay. Yeah. Like I said, this is music that you'd play on a road trip. It feels like it. I enjoyed it actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it better outside of its album context?
I think so.
I guess you don't remember the album that well.
Yeah. I think just by itself it was. I could take it much more enjoyable because not every song on the thing was the same song. So
yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed it.
I'll say with. Sorry, I'll just go quickly. Because I didn't talk about the previous album quick. So it's Snowy. Like it's a B-side, so it's not like the main track. So sometimes B-sides with K-pop don't hit that well, and Snowy hit for me. Forever One, Girls' Generation. Girls' Generation is like a classic group that I knew when I was living in South Korea. So to hear a song from them that felt like a K-pop song was just very nice. You know, Ontario, I really like because like I'm. At first, when I started listening to it, I wasn't crazy about like the fast aspect, but then it got to like the slow, soulful part. Like, oh, I just love that. So I kind of like the experimental side of that.
Yeah,
so.
It's a good song for a road trip, or if like, when I was making my pony video, like I needed to find some good, sad, reflective music.
Mm-hmm.
Like this kind of mood would work as well for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Hetty from Atlas Roads. This is probably my favorite track of this mix.
Yes! Oh, that makes me happy.
Do you like this one?
Love it.
Yeah, like at first it was like, okay, it's just basic guitar, but then it really kicks up later on in the song. It's like, okay, I like this song.
Good.
I'd play this. Again, it's like Ontario, where it's like, okay, this is like one of those reflective, soulful songs that I would use for a project. Not that I'm saying I would, but like the mood is what I was like, okay, I could do something with this. I enjoy this. It's actually nice.
Oh, this was when Atlas Roads released a song. Like it was one of the first songs I heard of the year. I loved it. My number one is my number one for. We'll get to it, but like
we'll get to that.
It's a beautiful song. I'm so like if there's one song out of this like I really hoped you would love, it would be that one. So I'm very happy. Like mission accomplished in my mind.
Yes, mission accomplished. Your next two though, Stockholm Syndrome and Aria Obscura. I'm not a big fan of them. Again, they're more of your genre of the heavy metal, and so it kind of just became background noise for me.
That's fair.
It was like it was loud, it was background noise. I wasn't really discerning anything from it, so I didn't have much to say. For me, those two are like in the bottom of this list here.
That's fair. For those wondering, Stockholm Syndrome, it's a cover by Era of the Muse song, so it's not Muse.
Okay.
And then Norma Jean for Area Obscura. Yeah, I will say, like, probably in comparison to the 21 list, I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I feel like there might have been a stronger metal presence in that list in comparison to this, where this list is pretty much just 2 songs. And even this year, like, there hasn't been, like, I've just been on a strong K-pop binge lately. Music is like, I'm a little burnt out by a lot of things music lately.
Okay.
And it's just like, I still love metal. Things aren't hitting. It's just so much of my life to a degree where I can't let it all digest the way I want it to, and so I just kind of am ignoring it. But regardless, so, like, I think we're seeing, like, I know there's some diversity in the last list, but, you know, there's some diversity here too, and it's just interesting. Anyways, but those Stockholm Syndrome, the clean vocals, the actual quote singing, like, just swept me away. Just really incredibly well done. And Norma Jean is just a band I really love, and it was hard picking a song from that album, but this was the song I listened to the most. So that's why I picked it. I just love Norma Jean. So
yeah. And then finally, at the bottom here, we have Love Dive from IVE. This is also one that was on your K-pop mix. What did I say about this song last time?
It was catchy.
It is catchy, yes.
Yeah. IVE is the best thing that's happened to K-pop in, like, the past 2 years.
Okay.
And I know that doesn't mean so much to you, but it means so much to me. And so that I was debating, like, another song they released last year, Afterlife, is also really good. And I don't know which of those 2 songs you prefer, but man, they're so good. And they released an album this year. It's so good. I cannot stop singing their phrases. Like, there's just, again, like, K-pop is like that genre for me, and then to hear, like, the K-pop I want to hear, basically, just elevates it even more. And so IVE has just been hitting the spot for me. And so Love Dive, really, I love it. I get it. Like, there's some, like, I feel like most all these songs, like, maybe except for Engedi, or, like, I feel like maybe even Ontario, but I feel like most of these songs, like, if you don't really know, you don't know, kind of.
Sure.
If you're not into it, I feel like Engedi and Ontario, if you're even a casual, I'd be surprised to hear someone not love those songs.
If you feel a mood.
Yeah. But, like, for people who, like, love K-pop, like, these are some songs that I love and I hope they love. But people who don't love K-pop, I don't really expect them to love it. But also, there was an aspect with making this list that I wanted, you know, I didn't want to overwhelm you too much with, like, I didn't make this list for you, right? But I was happy that there were some duplicates, you know what I mean? Because, again, like, the Girls' Generation song, you kind of came away with a slightly different perspective. And so I didn't want to just throw at you 10 random songs. It'd be like 6 random songs and a few that...
Like last year, yeah.
Yeah. Which, again, there was no build-up to last year like there was this year. So...
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So I bet you don't really remember last year's too much.
I don't. It was a lot of metal, I think.
So in theory, do you think this year was more tolerable?
Yeah. Definitely much more because like one, two, like 3 songs like we had played before, like the boxing one, we had that mixtape. We had the K-pop mixtape, and then you just have Teddy, which just worked well with Ontario. So
yeah,
because of that, like you had 3 songs I had listened to before, like it worked.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm so glad you love this. I mean, I'm
And,
not expecting you to always listen to it, but the fact that I was able to score with that song and that song specifically makes me so happy. So I feel like I accomplished what needed to be done.
well, I'm glad I made you happy with that.
Yeah, I think for there might be some exceptions. We'll see how things go, right? But um, with following mixtapes, I've been doing something with Semper Metalum that we're sharing like our 5 favorite songs of the month.
Okay.
And I think that's what I'm just gonna do with you for the meantime.
Okay.
Unless I find something else I want to do, like for like a one-off. So just like 5 songs. So I'll look up what I did for January and give you that mix and go from there. And then probably at the end of the year, I might maybe save a few songs. It might be all songs you've heard before.
Maybe.
And just like, okay, these are like, so, and then also be more digestible. So if it's like, so at least it's not 10 metal songs in a row. Max. Again, like I said, this year I haven't listened to a lot of metal, but it'd be like just a smaller pocket of songs that hopefully would be a little easier to digest. So, I'm looking forward to that.
Mm.
All right, so what's your next
Okay,
mixtape?
so my next mixtape took a lot of thought.
Okay.
Which was really difficult. It's my Ruby mixtape.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah. So it took a lot of thought because I was trying to figure out, okay, so what do I do with this? Like, do I just do all the intros? Do I just do my favorite songs? It was really hard just to pick because I like a bunch of songs for different reasons. So I've come up with a solution. I pick songs that will tell a story as the mixtapes go on. And this is also a 2-part mixtape.
Okay.
This is part 1.
Okay.
Part 1, 10 songs. Part 2, 10 songs. I tried my best to like compress it and not use as much, but yeah, hopefully I did my best at trying to tell a story. The actual videos on the playlist here have the lyrics with them.
Okay. Cool.
So that, yeah, because the lyrics are important to this.
Okay.
So
you want me to kind of like observe the story being told?
Yeah, so like you can listen to it like once first time, and then you can look through the lyrics, because the story and the lyrics is important. Sometimes words are repeated throughout different songs, and they're important for each one. So I tried to tell a story chronologically.
Mm-hmm.
There are different characters involved in this story, which the art in this stuff will probably help. But yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully, yeah. And so for this first mixtape for you listeners here, if you want to make your own, for Ruby, it's The Path to Isolation, Red Like Roses Part 2, Gold, Mirror Mirror, Time to Say Goodbye, Die, Sacrifice, When It Falls, Mirror Mirror Part 2, and Divide. This is Part 1. This is what I'm giving you for now.
Okay.
Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. Because I'm not fully. I don't know if I have everything done properly, so we'll see what happens.
Okay. Should I be nervous?
I also like the show hasn't concluded, so maybe I tried my best to find a song that acts like a conclusion. So we'll see what happens.
Conclusion as in part 2?
It's just a conclusion to the story I give you.
Okay. So this is my Across the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because this mixtape does end with a cliffhanger, I believe. Yes.
Oh my gosh. After all of this we talked about, John, and you have to
I know, I know, and then I do it.
Wow. Should I even trust you?
Should you even trust me?
Should I?
I mean, here you go,
well,
Ruby.
We'll have to give this a shot. I'll make yours soonish.
Yes.
Are you
your first time listening to Ruby after the other time?
Yeah. Also, just out of curiosity, okay?
Yes.
Are you happy that's going to be a shorter mixtape for you? I'm just curious.
Is it a shorter mixtape?
5 songs.
I get sure, I guess.
Oh my gosh, John. Sometimes I wonder, like, do you even have
Honestly,
emotions?
it'd be easier to listen to 5, of course.
Right.
Well, like, whatever works for you, you know?
Right.
If it's easier for you to do 5, then it's fine. I'll do that.
I think also the thing is, like, if I was trying to create, like, a theme or something each time, like, it's too much work for me. But this that I already put in effort into.
Yes.
Like, something kind of pre-made that I can, like, go back to. But these are songs that I liked at least during that time. And so, I mean, for us to go back to January, I don't remember what's on that list. So to revisit that and to be like, oh, even for me, like, do I feel like these still hold up to a degree, or why do I pick them? It'll be interesting. But
you might want to.
Yeah.
I don't know. You might want to take notes about the story.
Okay.
Like, for definitely when we're getting into part 2, it might help you. I don't know. I don't know. Like, 2 parts is ambitious.
You're nervous about this. That's wild.
Mixtaping. Because, like, I want this to succeed. It's not. But I want it to.
Yeah. I get that.
Doesn't matter if you like the song. Just, do you get the story? Does it feel like a story to you?
That's fair. That's fair.
What story can you gather from these lyrics?
How would you feel, like, if I ended up, like, just not getting it, like, with this first part? How would you feel?
Not getting it?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd feel expected, you know?
Really?
I mean, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a tough job.
All right.
It'd be easier if the show had ended.
Yeah.
And I can give you the conclusion.
Show.
So I just have to give you a makeshift ending.
So is the show, like, they have, like, 2 songs every episode or something?
It's like 1 every other episode.
Okay. But enough to tell a semi-cohesive story.
So here's the thing. They, like, play, like, 30 seconds, and then they release a full album later on.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the reason why the album is better, because the album actually gives you character depth that the show doesn't.
Okay. Interesting.
Which is like, oh my goodness, like, I wish we knew that this is what the characters were thinking of this entire time. It actually has so much more depth. It makes so much more sense. Boy, what happened? Yeah, no. So yeah, it is. I have enjoyed things better by listening to the music because I understand character motivations now. So hopefully, because you have no context of the story of the show. No
context.
Hopefully, the story will give you an idea about characters. Hopefully. We'll see. All right. Anything else for this week?
I don't have anything else.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
So anyway, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.